Are you ready for pain? Are you ready for suffering? If the answer is yes, then you're ready.
So I had this bitch over last night. You had this bitch over last night? Yeah, I had this bitch over last night. What's the problem? Where do I start?
Would you be able to answer this question on one of my tests for social psychology? Simple essay question after going through privilege, what privilege is, giving examples of privilege, explaining how there are different types of privilege like white privilege, male privilege, Christian privilege, able-bodied privilege, thin privilege, cisgender privilege, straight privilege, and others. All right, so simple question I ask my students, essay question. Tell me one way that you have privilege. Tell me one type of privilege you have. Whoa, my makeup is all over the place today. All right. It still is. Anyway, I always am a mess. Tell me what kind of privilege you have. Explain how it's an example of privilege, and say how your life would be different if you didn't have that particular type of privilege. Would you be able to answer that question? Can you come up with the type of privilege you have? Are you able to say out loud and admit to yourself and to the world that you have that privilege? Because one thing I find is my students don't. Even when I have clearly explained what privilege is and how it doesn't mean your life has been easy, it doesn't mean you're a bad person if you have privilege, still they just go, oh no, I don't know. No, I don't have any privilege. The test question, a lot of students will leave it blank. It could be for a variety of reasons, not necessarily because they, don't understand or don't take the class seriously or anything. But I get weak ass answers, like, oh, well, I've got strong privilege. I've got smart privilege. I'm like, you could have said you had white privilege. You could have said you had male privilege. At the very least, because I'll have some students, they're like, look, I am a black transgender individual. I don't have a whole lot of privilege. I'm like, okay, now think about your life. Think about certain advantages that you have that you probably didn't notice that you have. And an example I often go with, I say, even if you've got disabilities, you don't have all the disabilities. There's some disability that you would be lacking, that you'd have privilege from not having that disability. Like for example, if you are sighted, you can see, you don't need accommodations for that. You've never had to think about, oh, is the textbook going to be available in Braille? Am I going to get it on time for the semester? That's just one of many examples I'll try to throw out. I'm like, just think, what sorts of privileges do you have? And they just don't want to do it. There's so much resistance. So I'm asking you, what sorts of privileges do you have? Can you own up to it? I'll start. I have white privilege for sure. I have cisgender, straight privilege. I have able-bodied privilege. Don't have thin privilege, but as someone who's just a mid-fat, not a larger, I know there are official terms, and I'm probably going to use the different terms, but the larger fat, and I think the larger categories, I'm not there, so I have privilege from being on the smaller end of fatness. I've got privilege. What are yours?
It's not that I don't like the neurotypical WASP standards for social interaction. It's that they lead to further entrenching economic and social injustice. Like, I can meet those standards if I have to. I have acting training, I've masked for most of my life, I've watched TV, I can do it. The point is, we shouldn't have to, because people of color, people with disabilities who are not as good at masking or don't have acting training, because I am one of the people with disabilities, you just worked with them, and people who live in poverty who can't meet the standards of what neurotypical WASPs expect from them, then they don't get the same job opportunities, because a big thing he was talking about was how, like, doing the things he said will make them give you a job. Like, that shouldn't be the criteria for whether or not somebody gets a job, whether or not they memorize 3 clean jokes, etc., etc. This is about more than my personal preferences for what a fun party is.
OJ, like, I'm not black, I'm OJ. Okay.
Tell me how old you were when you had your first openly LGBT.
So, I think we had one my junior year of high school. Like, I was still a little unclear. We were all pretty sure he was gay, but that doesn't really count as openly. For sure, college. But now I am one of the openly queer teachers. I was at my last job, and I am somewhat at this new job.
Stitch this with the
TTW.
stupidest
We
thing
were
a man
talking
has
in
ever
Korean,
mansplained
that's
to you.
why the translation
Hi,
is
do you
not
like
accurate.
sex? No, I am a minor, and I don't like sex before marriage. Well, you should. No, I don't. Yes, you should. No, and why should I? Because girls have to, and it makes them feel good. We don't have to, and I have other ways to feel good. You really have to, so you could prepare for your future man. You need to please him. No, we don't. And sex is not the only way to make someone happy. You're a very stubborn girl. You need to follow when a man says something. Well, you know, guess what? What? Blocks.
Little pussy belongs to me.
Oh yes, Daddy.
Stop fucking explaining yourself to other people. You owe no one any explanation of what you do. Your life is yours.
If God didn't want women to eat other women's vaginas, then why did he make so many fruits look like vaginas on the inside? Think about how much we fucking love fruit. Blend it up, put it in a bowl with some acai and granola. Oh my God, we fucking love fruit. You know who I know doesn't love fruit? Men. Show me a man with a vitamin in his body that didn't come from pre-workout. Show me a Y chromosome next to some vitamin C. Show it to me. Prove me wrong. I just feel like if nature's vagina's PR, their target demo's women. That's all I'm saying.
You know what's so odd to me? When I post a video and people use that video as a sound and they memorize all of my words, they memorize the words that I'm saying in their own video. And I know that's how lip syncing works. Like, I get it. I'm not dumb. But it's so weird to hear my voice coming out of someone else's face. You feel me, dog? That's so weird. I kind of love it.
This may come as a surprise to many of you because I don't have the typical fitness account, but I actually work in the fitness industry. I am a degreed exercise physiologist with a certification through ACSM as well, and I've worked in the industry for about 10 years. So to answer your question, yes, I know many bodybuilders. I have been friends with them, I have worked alongside of them, and I have even helped to coach some of them in the past. Although I no longer do that because I don't agree with the practice. And do you know what every single one of those individuals has in common? A diagnosis of an eating disorder. Luckily, those who found themselves in bodybuilding and realized this was just enabling their eating disorder even more, sought recovery and therapy and are doing much better. They will be the first ones to tell you, though, that bodybuilding did so much harm to them that they have to completely rebuild their relationship with food, exercise, and their body. Because what a lot of you all don't want to hear is dedication and commitment can quickly become obsession.
It's our belief that Principal Green was right in expelling Matt Caulfield, and he shouldn't be forced into changing his ruling simply because...
No one's forcing him.
Pardon me, Dr. Fielding, but you threatened to ask for his resignation.
That wasn't a threat. That was a direct request.
As a representative of the student body, I'm telling you what is happening to Principal Green is wrong.
As far as I know, all you represent is that meager handful of students out there right now, and that's it.
Make no mistake, Dr. Fielding, there's a voice that doesn't agree with what's happening here, and that voice will be heard.
I'm all in. Now, I suggest that you and your friends hurry back to school before that principal you love so dearly has to serve you with detention for cutting class.
I was cutting class. I'm not sick with a cold.
When I say respect people pronouns, I mean that shit. A lot of y'all in my comments trying to talk that hot shit. I want all the smoke. I don't know who y'all been fucking with, but they ain't me. I want it all. Come my way. Try me like that.
Whenever I tell people that I'm a gamer, they just assume that that's the only thing that I do. Like, that's my only personality trait. I'm so much more than a gamer, okay? I'm also depressed.
Men, help me out. I'm a silly girl here. Don't know how to drive. Going on the highway. I'm in the right lane. It's busy. There's like traffic everywhere. And this dude tried to merge onto the highway. I couldn't get over to let him merge, so I sped up. And then he tried to race me. So we're going Cadillac to Cadillac, and I beat him because he ran out of shoulder, and then he flipped me off. What was I supposed to do in that situation? Logically, I speed up, not slow down in busy traffic. What do I do?
Oh Hanukkah, come light the menorah. Let's have a party, we'll all dance the horror. Gather round the table, we'll give you a treat. Sit ball in it to play.